Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes here for day number 29 of my 31 Days of Horror. Today's movie that I picked out to watch, I was really excited to give this one a rewatch. I'd seen it once before but haven't checked it out since, and I loved it the first time round. Today's movie from 2021, directed by Edgar Wright. It is Last Night in Soho. Now, as usual, before I get into my thoughts of this movie, we'll quickly go into the plot. So we have our lead character, Ali, who has moved to London for school to study fashion design, and when she first arrives, it's not quite as she imagined it to be. First of all, she's not really fitting in, but also she envisioned 60s London. You know, she's sort of obsessed with that era and that time in London, and obviously things have changed. So she rents this room in this old lady's place. It's essentially the attic of this place. And at night, she starts having these dreams of going back in time into 1960s London, and she is in the body of this young lady named Sandy, and some terrible things happen to Sandy, and then it starts to actually come into reality, and some ghosts start to haunt Ali, and a sort of mystery starts to unravel. I'm going to leave it there, kind of keep it brief, but let's get into my thoughts of 2019's Last Night in Soho, directed by Edgar Wright. So right from the get-go, I really love the 1960s London aesthetic in this movie. It's just really fucking cool to look at. As I said in the plot description, it's got a lot to do with timeline jumping. When Ali falls asleep, she wakes up in the 1960s, not in reality, but in her mind. And everything is just so stunning to look at. It's really fucking cool. But even when the scenes have nothing to do with Ali falling asleep and time jumping, just because a lot of this character's aesthetic is based around 1960s London, we just get a lot of it all the time. You know, even in the intro to Ali at the start of this movie, you know, she's got old school records and old school fashion up on her walls, and just a lot of what she bases herself around is from that era. And as I said, it's just really fucking cool to look at. All the sets and the set design in this movie is fucking incredible. It looks awesome. It really just immerses you into, as I said, the 1960s London, and it's so beautiful and drawing while also being like extremely grimy and shady, and you know there's something more sinister behind the neon lights and everything going on and all the glitz and glamour. And while I'm on that topic, the use of lights in this movie is really fucking good. As I said, especially the neons. You know, there's plenty of neon greens, blues, reds. Everything in this movie just fucking pops, so this movie is just pure eye candy as well. All the performances in this movie are also really stellar. It feels like everyone's carrying their weight and no one really feels out of place in this movie. Our lead is played by Thomasin McKenzie, who just does a great job as Ali. She just really embodies this character, and the way that she portrays her, you know, she just seems so down to earth and genuine, and you really feel bad for her at times that she's going through such a haunting experience. But she also does a great job with her performance, you know, keeping up with Anya Taylor-Joy, who I've said so many times on my channel. I just find her to be a great modern horror actress, just great modern actress in general, but she really stands out in horror movies as well. And I watched a lot of behind the scenes, you know, after watching this movie, and parts where Ali, you know, falls asleep and she has the dreams inside Sandy's body. You know, you see Sandy walking around, but you see Ali in the background in reflections and everything, and none of that was done CGI. They were literally mirroring each other through all those scenes, and you can tell both of them had a great chemistry there. You also have Matt Smith in this movie, who, to me, he always just looks like he could have played a villain, and he just does it to a T in this one. Such a grimy, gross person, but he does a great job. As I said, all of our cast in this movie, none of them feel out of place. They all do a really good job. Great use of music, which Edgar Wright, he's always done a really good job with inserting music into his movies. Great soundtrack, great score. All the music fits in really well also, so just a few more things that I really liked about this film. But getting back to our lead, Ali, for a second, again played by Thomasin McKenzie, I just love her character. As I said, she's so sweet and she seems so innocent and genuine, and as I said, all these haunting things happening to her and she's having these visions, like, it would be so horrific, and she just seems so sweet. It's like, oh my god, you don't deserve to be going through this. But you also just feel so bad for her without the haunting stuff going on when she first arrives in London. It's like a clear reflection of Anya Taylor-Joy's character against Sandy, because they both arrive in London having these dreams and having these expectations and things not playing out as they imagined. And as I said, it's like Sandy is back in the 1960s, Ali is in modern times, but both situations are just reflecting each other, and I feel like it's really well executed in the story. But when Ali arrives, she's got these expectations of how she expected things to be, and it's not working out. You've got these mean girls who all around are just overall bitches, but they're just dying for attention and validation, and they're clearly insecure and all this stuff. But man, I just love Ali as a character. All of our characters in this movie are done really well and well written and well developed. I also really like how this movie can juggle so many emotions and feels while not getting too flooded and feeling too overwhelming. This movie gets extremely dark and uncomfortable and depressing at times, like, don't get me wrong, but it also keeps a balance with like gorgeous sets and bright colours to look at, and even like little shots of humour. There actually are a few moments where I chuckle, but it's not too much. It's not like it's a point where it's a dark comedy or anything, but there are little jabs and all this in there that make you chuckle. But as I said, it's not afraid to go too dark, while also having this stunning setting and everything. I find it to be a really nice balance. Overall, just a genuinely good story, and it never feels uninteresting. Like, this whole movie, my eyes are like glued to the screen. Like, there was a few times I had to get up and just go for a piss or whatever, or get something to drink, and I'm like, oh, after this scene, and then the scene ends, and I'm like, after this scene, and then I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna like wet my pants. Like, this movie is just like candy for your eyes. Like, you can't take your eyes off it. The story's just so captivating. There's so much to like about this movie. Now, I do feel like there is a moment in this movie, it's like the build up to the climax, where Ali's visions and craziness are starting to seep more into reality, and it becomes a little bit too much, and it feels like it's getting to the point where it's having her development and the story development slightly slow down a bit, and it's like, okay, let's keep it going. But then it moves to the climax and the twist, and I love it because I really feel like the twist in this movie lands. The way that it's shot, first of all, it's like really drowsy. It's like, that's probably the best way I can think to describe it when the twist happens. It's sort of got something to do with the plot point, but I won't get into it. But it just feels drowsy and dreamlike, but again, there's still got the colours, but then the darkness as well, that balance that I was talking about just before. Some people might be like, okay, do you get caught up in the way that it looks and the artistic things that they're trying to do? No, it's still really simple to follow along with. As I said, I just feel like the twist overall is really well executed. I don't know what else to say about this movie. I remember when this film came out, 2021, I actually didn't go and see it. I heard a lot of people say, yeah, this movie was incredible, and I just kept going, yeah, I'll get around to it. And then I just eventually forgot, and then I think I watched this probably the year later, 2022, and it blew me away. And if I watched it in 2021, it would have been my number one for that year. It is my number one for that year, but as I said, I didn't watch it in the year, so I had something else as my number one. I can't remember, but this movie was incredible. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Like, I just really think it is a great modern ghost story. I was talking about that when I reviewed Ghost Ship not too long ago. Obviously, that one's a lot more cheesy, more, popcorn sort of flick. But I feel like we don't get too many modern ghost stories, or these, it's not your typical haunted house thing at all, but it's like, it's hard to explain, it's got a lot to do with ghosts and visions in this one, which, I'm sure you guys picked up on. I'm just sort of rambling, but I really do like this movie. As I said, I just never feel bored watching this movie. The story's so captivating, all our characters are great, and not to mention, beautiful set pieces, great colours, and finding a balance of dark, grimy, seedy London with beautiful London. So yeah, overall, really good movie. If you've seen Last Night in Soho, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Edgar Wright, I wish he did more horror movies like this. I'm not sure if he's got anything else planned. Like he did Shaun of the Dead, obviously. Not straight up horror or anything, but I feel like a lot of his other catalogue is a little bit hit or miss with me, but I really feel like he smashed it out of the park with this movie. I really enjoy it. So, as I said, let me know your thoughts of this movie if you've checked it out. And I'll see you tomorrow for day number 30. We're so close to the end, guys, but thank you for joining me.